Tate, how are you? I'm good, how are you? Better than I look. Yeah, well, that's probably true. Dave, we're. I know, we should just have all our meetings at the city. Okay, we are ready to start if you're ready. Okay, I'm grabbing the banner. Everyone ready? Williams County Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Mark? Mark? Mark?
Mark's out of town.
I know. I have to call it 3 times, so don't I?
No, not really.
We just do once. Yeah, they don't answer.
Yeah, Bueller.
Okay. James?
Here.
Shane? Tate? Eric?
Here.
Dan?
Here.
George? Barry?
Here.
And Sherelle?
We have a quorum. We will proceed. Disposition of the minutes from May 16th. What are your wishes?
Motion to approve.
And a second.
Yes.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Michelle, are you ready? Item number 1.
Okay, so tonight, the first item we have is LU-0037-24, Ryan Waters with River Water LLC on behalf of the Sheldon Family Revocable Living Trust, also Robert Sheldon. They're requesting a conditional use permit to construct a freshwater pond within the agricultural zoning district. This is located in the north half of the northwest of Section 8, Township 155 North, Range 96 West, which is Farmvale Township. And when I did the packets and sent them out, we had not heard back from Farmvale Township. However, we didn't get the original packet back, but they did email us a couple times just stating some of their concerns. One being the dimensions of the pit they feel would indicate a 3 million barrel capacity. The plan says a lined pit. However, after talk with landowner, he said it would not be lined. Our concern is that it is next to a small creek and it should have a liner. Their other concern is that it is close to Emery Bow residents, and they claim it is clay to the depth of 43 feet, but there has been a lot of gravel mined in that area. So they just had a few concerns there. And the applicant, though, is requesting the conditional use permit to construct a freshwater holding pond on the subject property. The pond will be an engineered earthen berm pond that will hold approximately 2 million barrels of fresh water and will have a gravelled water offload area with a pressure sensor and flow meter installed. It will be approximately 760 by 600 feet with a 3-to-1 interior and exterior side slopes. The applicant states there will be no pumps installed at this time because the design allows the pond to be filled by their existing pipeline pumping systems and dewatered by gravity through the same common inlet-outlet. Subject location will have fencing around its entire perimeter with an additional silt fence on 2 sides. Applicant is currently working with the state to get all necessary permitting through them as well. This freshwater pond is for storage purposes only and will provide industrial water to the oil and gas industry. According to the applicant, the water for the pond will come from multiple state-permitted industrial groundwater wells located in the Nesson Valley and Hoffland Bay areas. For this subject property, if its intended use is no longer needed and the landowner desires, the site would be reclaimed to its original state. Access to the subject property is through private access road off 59th Street Northwest.
So for this subject property, If its intended use is no longer needed and the landowner desires, the site would be reclaimed to its original site. So what if the landowner says, I don't want to do that?
I would assume that if the landowner doesn't want it reclaimed, that it would stay a big pond, maybe for cows or something. I don't know what they would use a
For
big,
cattle?
yeah, maybe
Okay.
swimming pool out there. I don't know.
Okay, that was my question.
Is, yeah, is it close enough to be used for irrigation?
It quite possibly could be.
It could be used for irrigation. It's 144 acre feet is what it is. I mean, you could use it for irrigation. And that's one thing that the owner talked about, you know, if industrial needs wane off and
You can go to the podium, please. Speak into the microphone. We're just recording this, so they can't hear you. Thank you.
yes, it could be used for irrigation. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Commission, for letting me get up here and present this project to you. So just a little background. I'm an engineer and I'm the GM for River Water. River Water is a bulk water provider to the oil industry. We provide maintenance and frack water. We have about 70 miles of pipeline in the ground. And like Michelle said, our water comes from wells that are hydraulically connected to Lake Sakakawea. We pump that water, you know, to the pads directly for maintenance water. We also supply the frac needs for hydraulic fracturing and completion activities of the oil company. This particular project, I know there's some questions about line ponds. We've built a number of them, and a lot of them we actually harvest clay, so we call it an engineered liner. So what we've done to date is we've had a geotech firm come out, and we've punched about, I think there's around 7 different bores. And so we go down 50-some feet. We see what's beneath there. We look for clay materials that meet a permeability, or only so much water can go through it throughout the course of a year. You look at your head requirements, how much water is over top of your liner, and so it is an engineered liner. So one thing that we do with that soil to make it so it's more suitable, we'll add bentonite. In this particular design here, we have I think it's around a 1.5% additive of bentonite. And what that does, it seals it up more, but it also makes it more structurally sound. So this process we're going through with the pond design is the state of North Dakota, their dam safety, they're reviewing everything that we have. So they're only looking at, well, they're looking not only at the design of the dam itself, but also looking at downstream impacts if there is a breach. And so they've actually done an analysis from, you know, this point here, if it breaches, what are the impacts to private property downstream, kind of thing there. So we talk about, you know, how this thing functions. What we need it for, and I'm sure you see this quite a bit, the water needs are becoming greater and greater in terms of the volume and the flow rate that we have to deliver to the pad for their completion activities. You know, I've been working in this field for, you know, 12, 13 years now. When we first started, it was 30 barrels a minute. Right now, our clients, Hess, Continental, Cord Energy out there, it's gone from 30 barrels a minute all the way up to 160, and that's what we have to deliver to the pad for their completion activities. Our pipelines aren't big enough for that, so this is the way that we you know, deal with this. We've got existing pipelines that are very functional, they work really well, but they can only deliver, you know, 110 to 120 barrels a minute. So what we do is we build big ponds, and sizable ponds, we fill them slow, and then from those ponds, we'll go out to the job with lay flat hose and you know, meet those water demands that they have. So this is really the next step in our system to make it more, you know, versatile in terms of, you know, not only meeting the volumes, but also meeting the flow demands that they need to do their work.
Okay, any questions for Ryan?
How many systems are like this around here?
You know, so there's quite a, no, I shouldn't say there's quite a few of them.
I guess as far as unlined.
There's a lot. So we have one that's called the Hovde Pond. That's up by John Hovde's south there. That's unlined. That's about 37 feet deep. And this one here, I think, is about 42 feet deep. So we're up on those hilltops. And so actually what we found some really, really good clays. So actually what we'll do in this situation is we mine it. So as we're digging it, we're taking those choice clays and we're stockpiling them. And so we've got, this will be a permitted, you know, structure to the state of North Dakota. So the placement of the materials, the compaction, all this stuff is recorded, and we have to provide the report, third-party report to the state once it's completed and they verify that it's been constructed to specifications and the drawings that we propose, you know, with this project. We have about, so I also work for West Dakota Water, which is on the south side in McKenzie County, and probably 75% of our ponds there are on, there's no plastic liner. I mean, they are a liner like your lagoons. A lot of times you'll see, we've had, you know, through the years, they're clay liners. They're based on a permeability and how much water, they'll have some seepage. We're talking, you know, 18 inches a year that could make it through the liner. So the liner is designed to hold the water. You know, we rip wrap the shorelines or the side so you don't have erosion and different things like that. What's that? Yep. So we'll look at the winds and how the wind blows and your wave action. And it's kind of weird how it works. The wind comes in and they'll go down the banks and it'll point to one spot, you know, a lot of times. And so you have to reinforce that. So, you know, everything that we have right now, we're going to be looking to put rip wrap in the southeast, you know, on the southern portion with those prevailing winds kind of thing. So I always try to put it in the corners because that's where the waves will hit and then they'll point. So if you get a northeast or, I mean, the winds will come from any direction around here. It's always blowing some direction, right? So we do put measures in place to protect that embankment.
Any other questions?
I had two questions.
Yes, sir.
First one, the difference between bentonite and a liner.
Yep.
Can you kind of give us a little bit of explanation why you'd choose the bentonite over a liner? What's the advantages there?
Well, it's cost. It comes down to cost, like to line this pond with plastic. So there's different options you can have out there. Some of these, one of the issues that we run into, so we've purchased ponds that had liners that are probably not the choice one to put in, and they leak, and you're always fixing them. So we do have other ponds that we constructed that were in areas where there is gravels and such like that. So like if we would have got into this in like in our design process and we found lots of sands and lots of gravels, we would have went with a plastic liner because, you know, you can't control what's going underneath you. But what we found is good clays. So that, I mean, it's a design selection of what we're doing and why we're doing that. So.
All right, so then if it were to leach or seep, it's getting into clay and not into a gravel vein or sand where it's
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
travel.
So if you have underlying clays, it's going to hit the clays and it's going to stop. But you know, one other thing that we've done with Braun Intertech is our geotech engineers. We've actually punched some groundwater wells, monitoring wells, just so we can see what's going on underneath. So you can see that water movement and such. So we're not just trying to, you know, take the cheapest one because it's going to save us money. We're designing it and constructing it, you know, with long-term use in mind, and you want to keep track of that. You don't always know exactly what's, I mean, you have your borings, and you'll dig down and you'll see what's there. And the geotechs will be looking at this as we're building it, and but we just want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in terms of making this a long-term infrastructure that can be used years out. So.
And then my second question was, these wells that you're gonna be drawing the water from, are they already in existence, or they need to be drilled to? And if they are there, what's the proximity to where this is gonna be located?
Yeah, so they're not wells, we're not drawing water from them. It's basically, you have a small, like a 2-inch well, and it basically is looking for any kind of water movement in the soils. So it's not necessarily that you can pump them and pump water out of them, but it'll see the water that's in your profile and how it moves, basically, so.
So is this all pipelined, in and out then, or is there gonna be, do you, I mean, other than the occasional pickup to go, check on things, cause you're quite a ways off of,
Yep.
off 19, you gotta cross the creek. I didn't know if you planned on building a road to it or what.
So our plan is we have a pipeline that runs north and south right along Elk County Road 109. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tee off with a 20-inch pipeline. It'll be buried up to the pond. So it has a common inlet out, and what that means is it's one pipe in. So we fill it and we can empty it from there. So when we take water from that pond, the piping structure's set up so that we can drain it completely if we need to. So anywhere on our pipeline is where we'll take the water off of, So not necessarily, my vision is not to set up there and pump from there, but it's basically to store that water. It's almost like elevated, and you just use the gravity, and you got a pipeline down here, and we'll pull from the pipeline and take off from there. So we do have a water depot that's located probably a mile from there. It's called we call our Sheldon Water Depot. And that's where a lot of our activities take place in terms of pumping. and
Right,
stuff.
but I mean, I know where the depot is at and whatnot, but I mean, is there any plan for, pulling water out of this pit, in the future, so I was just curious if you planned on, how you would get across the creek and all that business, if
yep.
you planned having vehicle traffic up to it, but.
Yeah, so our Hovde pond that we have right now, it actually has a depot on there. But in terms of the storage side of that, we use SCADA system that says, here's the level of the pond. So we're monitoring what's going in and what's coming out. Our access to it, in some cases, it may only be once a month that we'll be up there, just come up to check on it. I try to get the guys to get out there and look at it, at least once a week or something like that. But it's not like it's every single day they'll be driving up there, and we'll have pumping activities and different things like that. So.
I was pretty sure there wasn't gonna be a steady stream of semis going up to this thing, but I thought I would just ask.
Yeah,
'Cause you never
that's a
know.
great question. Our intentions and the use of this will not be for a water depot. It's purely to pump stored water and have available to come off of our pipeline and pump to a job.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Turn it over to the board. What are your thoughts? What are your wishes? Okay, Tate's got a motion to approve with staff comments. Is there a second?
It's James, I'll second.
Second by James. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Dan? Oh. James?
Yes.
Dan?
You gotta leave me till the end in case
All
there's a tie.
right. Eric?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Tate? Dan?
Check with me tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, I don't see any old business. I don't see any discussion items. Next meeting is July 18th.
Yeah, of 2024 though, not 2020 like the agenda says. I just noticed that.
Okay, then we won't be late. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Ryan, thank you for coming in.